Ladies and gentlemen, there are forces in life that shape us quietly, through love, joy, and fleeting moments of beauty. But there are also forces that arrive with weight and intensity, shattering what we thought was secure. Pain, though often feared and resisted, carries within it a hidden power. It is not simply an intruder, but a teacher, a refiner, and a catalyst for inner growth. To understand pain is to recognize that within its depths lies the possibility of transformation, of becoming something greater than what we were before. The rare inner glow is not something that can be sought on the surface of life, nor can it be bought, borrowed, or manufactured by imitation. It does not arise from outer possessions, titles, or the fleeting impressions of social approval. Instead, it is born quietly within the depths of the soul, cultivated through unseen struggles, silent acts of compassion, and the willingness to remain open in a world that often demands hardness. This glow is not loud or dazzling like artificial light. It is subtle, gentle, and yet undeniable to anyone who comes near it. It carries a quality that feels eternal, as though it belongs not to time, but to the deeper order of existence itself. The inner glow appears most vividly in those who have known the weight of pain, yet refused to let suffering extinguish their humanity. It is refined through endurance, through the moments when everything seems heavy, and yet the heart still chooses to stay alive to feeling. Many people protect themselves by closing off, by building walls of indifference or cynicism, but the one who carries this glow has walked through shadows without surrendering to them. Instead of becoming bitter, they have allowed pain to carve out new depths within, creating a vessel spacious enough to hold not only their own experiences, but also the sorrows and joys of others. The glow becomes visible in the way they walk into a room, in the quiet calm of their presence, and in the serenity that surrounds them even when life is unsettled. This glow is rare because it requires a balance between vulnerability and strength, a balance that few are willing to cultivate. To remain open in a world that wounds is an act of courage. To feel deeply, while knowing that deep feeling brings both joy and sorrow, demands a kind of bravery that cannot be taught in words. It is lived through the slow process of accepting both light and darkness within oneself. The glow does not deny the shadows, rather, it shines precisely because it has learned to coexist with them. It is the fire that has burned through despair and emerged steady, no longer consuming but illuminating. The rare glow is also marked by authenticity. It cannot be forced. For any attempt to manufacture, it will be quickly revealed as hollow. It emerges naturally from those who have learned to live in alignment with their inner truth. When someone wears a mask for too long, their energy grows heavy, and others may feel the burden of pretense. But when a person lives sincerely, embracing their wounds, imperfections, and uniqueness, a kind of lightness begins to radiate from within them. It is not perfection that makes them glow, but honesty, the willingness to be fully themselves without seeking to impress or deceive. Those who encounter such a glow often find themselves drawn to it without knowing why. They feel at ease in the presence of someone who carries it, as though their own soul is being gently recognized. The glow becomes a silent reassurance that life, despite its chaos, still holds beauty, kindness, and depth. It is not the glow of dominance or force, but of quiet strength and unspoken compassion. In a world that often elevates noise and spectacle, the inner glow shines in its humility, needing no advertisement, for its reality speaks on its own. This glow is often more easily seen in moments of stillness than in moments of display. It shows itself when someone listens with genuine attention, when they comfort without words, when they act from kindness without expectation of reward. It appears in the softness of their gaze, in the steadiness of their voice, in the gentleness of their touch. The glow is not a performance, it is a way of being, and because it is so rare, those who witness it never forget the experience. The rare inner glow is, above all, a testament to the hidden capacities of the human spirit. It shows that beyond ambition, beyond masks, beyond the noise of survival, there exists something incorruptible within us. It reminds us that the true measure of a soul is not in what it gains for itself, but in the light it brings to others simply by being what it is. Depth of feeling is not merely the capacity to experience emotions on the surface, but the ability to sink beneath the visible layers of life and touch the currents that move unseen beneath them. It is to enter into the hidden dimensions of existence, where what is felt is not confined to one's own inner life, but extends outward, resonating with the emotions and struggles of others. This capacity is not common, for most people protect themselves by remaining at a safer distance from the intensity of feeling. But in those who are truly open, this depth becomes both a gift and a burden, shaping the way they experience the world. To feel deeply is to live without the protective shield that so many unconsciously place around themselves. It is to stand in front of suffering and not turn away, to recognize joy without fear of losing it, and to allow grief to run its course without denying its reality. A person who carries this depth cannot be satisfied with shallow connections or fleeting distractions. They seek meaning, substance, and authenticity because anything less feels empty. The world for them is not a stage of superficial appearances, but a realm of symbols, emotions, and hidden truths. Every word, every gesture, every silence carries weight, and nothing is dismissed as insignificant. This depth of feeling often manifests in empathy. When standing before another person, one does not merely hear the words they speak, but senses the undercurrent of emotion behind them. The tremor in the voice, the hesitation in the pause, the heaviness in the silence, all are felt as if they were one's own. The person with depth of feeling does not simply observe suffering, but absorbs it, becoming a vessel through which another's pain is recognized and understood. This creates a profound sense of connection, as though the boundary between self and other is dissolved for a moment, replaced by the recognition of a shared human essence. Yet to live with such depth is not easy. The weight of the world presses heavily upon the sensitive heart. To see what others overlook, to feel what others deny, can be exhausting. There are moments when the one who feels deeply longs for the relief of indifference, for the simplicity of emotional distance. And yet they cannot turn away from this depth, for it is not something chosen, but something intrinsic to their nature. The very same sensitivity that exposes them to pain also allows them to experience beauty with greater intensity. A sunset, a piece of music, a fleeting moment of kindness, all are felt not as passing pleasures, but as profound revelations. This depth is also tied to memory and imagination. Experiences are not merely lived and then discarded. They leave imprints that linger in the psyche, sometimes for years. A glance, a word, a gesture can be carried within and revisited long after the moment has passed, deepening in meaning over time. The one who feels deeply lives not only in the present, but in a continuous dialogue with the past and the possibilities of the future. They weave connections, finding meaning in patterns that others might dismiss as chance. The soul that feels deeply is never static, for it is constantly engaging with the invisible threads that bind moments together. Depth of feeling often brings with it a sense of isolation. Because the world seems louder and more intense to such a person, they may struggle to find others who understand the weight they carry. Many people live on the surface, content with appearances and fleeting pleasures, and so the one who feels deeply may be misunderstood, dismissed as overly sensitive or dramatic. Yet this very sensitivity is what allows them to connect to the essence of life in a way that others cannot. While the surface may deceive, the depth reveals what is true, and those who possess this gift cannot help but dwell in that truth, however painful or beautiful it may be. At times, depth of feeling can seem like both a blessing and a curse, but ultimately it is what makes the soul fully alive. It allows for a profound intimacy with life itself, a relationship with existence that is not shallow or fleeting, but enduring and transformative. The heart that feels deeply is one that has the capacity to love fully, to suffer honestly, and to embrace the full spectrum of human experience without turning away. Transformation through pain is one of the deepest mysteries of the human soul. Pain is not simply an unwanted interruption to life's rhythm, but an initiatory force that reshapes us from within. When suffering enters, it tears through the layers of comfort and illusion that we often build around ourselves. It exposes what is fragile, what is unexamined, and what lies hidden in the depths of our being. While many attempt to flee from pain, those who endure it consciously discover that beneath its harshness lies a hidden alchemy, a process through which the soul is refined. Pain strips away pretenses. It shatters the masks we wear and reveals to us what we are when nothing external can protect us. The carefully built structures of identity, the roles, the attachments, the illusions of control begin to dissolve in the presence of deep suffering. It is here, in the rawness of pain, that transformation begins. For when everything unnecessary is removed, what remains is the essence, the core of who we are. In this way, pain is both destroyer and revealer. It dismantles the false so that the true can emerge. Those who have walked through pain and survived it carry a depth that cannot be imitated. Their eyes reflect an understanding of life's fragility, and their presence radiates a quiet strength that does not need to be spoken. This transformation is not immediate, for pain at first feels like nothing but rupture, chaos, and loss. But slowly, as time passes and the soul begins to process what has occurred, the fragments of the old self are rearranged into a new form. The one who emerges is not the same as the one who entered. Something has been gained, though it came through fire. Transformation through pain is often compared to the work of fire upon metal. Raw ore contains impurities, and it is only when subjected to great heat that it becomes refined into something stronger, purer, and more enduring. In the same way, suffering burns away what is superficial. It tests the foundations of our being, showing us what is weak and what is unshakable. The individual who allows themselves to pass through this furnace comes forth with a new clarity, a new sense of direction, and a new capacity for compassion. This process also brings an expansion of empathy. One who has known sorrow recognizes it instantly in the eyes of another. Pain awakens a resonance, a recognition that unites human beings beyond words. While those untouched by deep suffering may offer sympathy from a distance, the transformed soul offers understanding from within. They know the silence of grief, the loneliness of despair, the yearning for relief, because they have walked those same corridors. Out of their own wounds, they become healers, carrying within them not only their scars, but also the wisdom to ease the burdens of others. It is important to see that transformation through pain does not erase the memory of suffering. The scars remain, but they are no longer sources of shame. They become symbols of endurance, reminders of what was overcome, and signposts pointing toward strength that was once hidden. The individual no longer resists their scars, but embraces them as part of their story, as evidence of their journey into the depths and back again. What once seemed only destructive is revealed as the very force that gave birth to a more complete self. The transformation that arises from pain is also spiritual. It forces us to confront the mystery of existence itself, to question the meaning of life, and to search for something greater than mere survival. In suffering, the soul often awakens to the reality that it is connected to something beyond the individual ego. Pain humbles us, reminding us of our limitations, yet at the same time it opens us to the transcendent, to the possibility of finding purpose within the very experience we once sought to escape. In this way, suffering does not diminish us but deepens us, expanding the horizons of our awareness. Ultimately, transformation through pain reshapes the way one walks in the world. It softens what was hard, strengthens what was weak, and awakens a sensitivity to the sacredness of life. It creates a person who no longer takes joy for granted, who sees beauty in the smallest of moments, and who recognizes the fragility and resilience that coexist within every soul. What was once an experience of breaking becomes the very ground upon which a new self is built. When we look upon those who have walked through pain and emerged with deeper compassion, steadier strength, and a clearer sense of life, we see living proof of this truth. Suffering can destroy illusions, but it cannot extinguish the soul. Instead, it carves out new space for light to enter, for wisdom to unfold, and for love to expand. If ever you find yourself within the furnace of pain, remember that it is not the end, but the beginning of a profound transformation. For in the breaking, the self is not lost, it is reborn. Thank you.